By the time you figure this out on your own, it will already be too late. So let me give you some money advice that you need for your 20s and even your 30s so that you don't have to fail to find out. And of all the advice that I'm going to give you, this first one is the most important because it's going to have the biggest impact on your life and also your money. So here's what you need to know. The single most important financial decision that you make is not going to be the career that you choose, is not going to be the house that you buy. The single most important financial decision that you're going to make is the person that you marry. The person that you marry, your spouse, is going to have the biggest impact on your life and on your finances. So separate bank accounts or not, their financial decisions are going to impact you. But even more than that, divorce will have an even more substantial impact on your finances. Divorce can leave you in a situation where it will take literal decades to climb out of. In fact, there was a study done, research done, that showed that there is a 77% reduction in a person's net worth when they go through a divorce. And I've seen it up close and personal. So when we're talking about who you marry, we're not just talking about having those financial conversations, which are important, but you need to have discernment around their character as well. Now, please don't confuse this with marrying for money because that has its own problems as well. But this is simply being smart and discerning about who you choose to come into covenant with as a spouse. So you need to be asking all the hard questions before you even walk down the aisle. What does their debt look like? What is their perspective on money? What did they grow up with financially? What is their thought process around money? These are all important questions to ask before you decide to get married. This isn't something that you figure out after you say I do, but these are conversations that you have before you say I do. And as hard and uncomfortable as those questions are, do not move in haste. Do not skip over these things because this is the most important financial decision that you are making in your life. Do not take it lightly. Have the hard conversations. Get into the information. Talk to each other about your financial situation before you make the decision. Now, this next piece of advice is advice that most people in their 20s and 30s miss. But I promise you, if you take hold and take heed to this advice that I'm about to give you, you are literally setting yourself up to become a millionaire in your 30s, or at least on the way to becoming a millionaire. And that advice that I will give you is to get out of debt and just avoid debt altogether. I'm talking about paying off that car, paying off those student loans, and avoiding that credit card debt. And I know we live in a society where financing everything is normalized, where having debt is normal, where good debt is a thing. But I'm here to tell you that debt is going to be the number one thing that hinders you from being able to build wealth. And here's the reality. At 20 or in your early 30s, you've not even hit your peak earning years. And so if you are laden with debt, when you finally get to where you're making a substantial amount of money, you're going to now have to use that money to pay off the debt from decisions that you made earlier in your adulthood. So the best thing that you can do for your future self is to not get into debt. And if you have to get into debt to maybe go to school or whatever, be sure to pay that debt off as soon as possible. Take that extra money that you may get from bonuses, a tax refund, the side hustle, whatever it is, use that money to pay off debt and do not get into any more debt. I don't care what society says about getting points on a credit card. If you know you can't pay off that credit card every month, avoid it at all costs. I was 27 when I became debt-free for the first time. I paid off $78,000 in student loan debt. I have a whole video that talks about that journey, and I have a book that shares exactly what I did that you can grab. But nonetheless, I was 27 when I paid off my original debt. And I was 32 when my husband and I paid off our home and became 100% debt free. And that was the biggest contributor in us being able to aggressively build wealth in our mid to now late 30s. It is probably one of the best financial decisions that we decided to make in our 20s to become debt free when most people weren't doing it, when it wasn't popular, when it wasn't the thing, when it wasn't even convenient or fun to do. We decided to make sacrifices so that we could become debt free. So by the time we had our first child, by the time we were up in our peak earning years, or beginning to get into our peak earning years, we didn't have to worry about paying off debt from decisions that we made in our 20s. So I'm telling you from experience, from someone who has become debt free and who has built a lot of wealth, Pay off your debt as soon as possible. You will not regret it when you get older. Now, like I mentioned, I talk about this extensively, particularly paying off that $78,000 in student loan debt in my book, Dump Debt and Build Bank. You can comment book to grab a copy or just grab the link in the description. But whether you buy the book or not, literally take heed to this advice. This is going to be the one thing that allows you to build wealth aggressively in your 30s and set yourself up to literally build wealth for the rest of your life. Now, this next piece of advice is something that I'm actually glad that I followed in my 20s. I actually wish I had done earlier, and that is to invest now. Start investing now in your 20s, in your early 30s. Many of your peers who aren't watching this video think that you have to be wealthy to invest. They want to start investing when they become rich. But here's the thing. Investing is the thing that's going to make you wealthy. Investing is the thing that's going to make you a millionaire and beyond. So start investing now. The piece of advice that I got when I was like 19 or 20 years old was that as soon as I got my first job, start investing in retirement. I took that advice, and I can tell you to this day now, having taken that advice in my 20s, I have a retirement account that even if I don't add another penny to it over the next 30 odd years, I would still be able to earn at least $4 million from that account. It was the best advice that I got. So my advice that I'm giving you is to start investing now. And if anything, start investing in that retirement account. Put money aside from every paycheck to go into your retirement account. So by the time you're 65 and ready to retire, you have the means to be able to retire with dignity, and you don't have to find yourself working in old age because you can't afford to live. Start investing now. And even if you haven't started in your 20s, in your 30s, start. Here's the significance of starting earlier than later. So if you are someone who is 20 years old and you start investing $100 a month into an investment account, over the time span from being 20 to 65, that account at $100 a month is going to be worth over $1 million. Now, the same person who waits until they're 30 to invest that $100 a month will not get to that $1 million mark by 65. In fact, they will only get around $382,000 in their investment account if they start at 30. That is the importance of time being on your side. That is nearly a $700,000 difference in someone starting at 20 versus the person starting at 30. Now, are either of the two numbers bad? Not at all, but which one's better? At 30, you would have to contribute 2.5 times more in order to catch up versus starting at 20. So my advice to you is to start as soon as possible. The simplest way to start is by investing in your retirement account with your employer. I've done a whole extensive video on my investment strategy. I've even done a behind the scenes video showing you exactly how to start investing. I'm going to leave links for that at the end of this video. So be sure to stay around to the end so that you can watch those videos on how to get started with investing. Now, here's the thing. What's even more than investing is actually being financially literate. So the next piece of advice that I will give you is to focus on financial literacy. My life changed when I learned how to manage my money. My money was no longer telling me where I could or could not go or what I could and could not do. Instead, I became the master of my money and my life completely changed. Now, here's the unfortunate reality. They don't teach personal finance in most schools. You're not going to get it from a public school education, and you probably won't get it at home either. Most of us did not get the financial education that we have now at home. You have to be responsible for your own financial education as an adult. No one's going to hold your hand and teach you how to manage your money, to teach you how to budget, how to save, how to invest. No one's going to hold your hand. You have to take personal responsibility and learn yourself. You have to make financial literacy a priority, because here's the thing. These companies, this world is going to take advantage of the fact that you don't know how to manage your money. And that's how you get into debt. This is how you get into financial situations that are hard to come out of. You have to educate yourself as the adult. So here's the thing. Check out books. I've already shared the book that I have, but there are dozens of other books that I could recommend. You have so many resources available to you to learn how to become financially literate. Take advantage of them. Take advantage of them and make it a priority in your early 20s, in your early 30s, so that the rest of your life can be spent building wealth. Again, no one is going to hold your hand, so you have to take responsibility of educating yourself on your personal finances, which brings me to my next piece of advice, which is expose yourself to next level environments. Where you are now is not where you're going to be in the future. And a huge part of ensuring that that is the case is by exposing yourself to next level environments and expanding your mind on what is actually possible for you. You can do this by joining networking groups, getting a mentor, watching YouTube videos. Just expand your mindset beyond where you may have come from, where your current situation is. This is literally a mindset trick that you can use as you are building wealth. You have to expose yourself to something greater. You have to know that there is a different normal than what you're experiencing now. Get around people who are doing things that you want to do, who are where you want to be in life. Get a mentor, because literally what you surround yourself with, your environment, is what's going to shape your future. So that means checking the friends that you have, checking that circle, checking your network, and making sure that you're putting yourself in an environment that's going to grow you, that's going to stretch you, and it's going to expose you to the level of life that you want to live. Now, these are all lessons that I learned in my 20s and my 30s that I really want you to take hold of so that you can get much further along much faster. And if any of this resonated with you, if it hit a nerve, if it was something that you found valuable, be sure to let me know in the comments. And if you're my age and above and you have some more valuable insight that you want to share to those in their 20s and their early 30s, be sure to drop that in the comments as well. Now, as promised, check out this next video where I break down my investment strategy.